Next, I wanted to introduce Bill Simcoe and Mike Miller, who are both going to talk about their ongoing project in the city of Albany.
Why don't I go ahead and get started? If Bill jumps on, I'll turn over controls to Bill. Essentially, the project that we're working on in Albany, it's a really interesting project, and we've been very appreciative of all the help and support that we've gotten from Opti. We really wanted to look at the system from a more holistic standpoint in terms of developing a wet weather flow management solution or program for the city. The city's been at this for a long time. Most of the work that we're doing really, and the projects we're going to highlight today, are within the Beaver Creek Sewer Shed. Beaver Creek Sewer Shed is a little over 3,200 acres of highly urban areas with CSOs discharging to the Hudson River. So it's a very high-profile community, and as it represents the capital of New York State, and this is by far the largest combined sewer overflow in the Capital District. So when we looked at some of the problems that have been occurring, this has been a long-standing issue within the sewer shed. Elberon Place is one of the projects we're going to talk about. Western and Quail is also part of the project. But these are rather severe flooding. There is rather severe flooding that has occurred in the city. And essentially, it's like I said, it's a combined sewer. And what happens is, as some of these low-lying areas, not only do we see surcharging from the combined sewers, but this is where nature kind of takes its course. These are all low-lying, historical low-lying areas in the city. So when the combined sewers are overwhelmed and water's flowing through the city system or through the city streets, this is where it ultimately comes to rest. So we've really tried to take a look at some of the worst areas in the city and tried to develop some solutions within these areas to start. You can go ahead and advance. So like I said, the Beaver Creek Sewer Shed is about 3,200 acres. The problems that we're trying to address as part of this program, one includes reduction of CSOs to receiving waters. The city is operating under an order of consent where they have developed a CSO long-term control plan, and some of these projects are strategies that are implemented under that program. But again, we're also talking about long-standing system surcharging and flooding issues that have a more localized effect and impact to residents as well. So the first project I wanted to talk about was, it's part of the Beaver Creek Sewer Shed. It's the Washington Park Lake project, and it really has two phases. Phase one of the project was the Quail Street project. This is a project that is nearing completion of construction as we speak. We have just done final inspections and are working with the contractor in order to button up that project. Essentially what we did along Quail Street was installed linear infiltration systems along the street over 8 city blocks. So it's a little under half a mile. And Opti is helping us with the monitoring of these systems. You've got equipment in the systems that are going to monitor soil moisture conditions as well as the operating levels within these infiltration cells for various storm events. One of the requirements for grant money that we received on the project was partially funded with $1.8 million of Green Innovation Grant funds from the Environmental Facilities Corp. So one of the things that we'll be looking to work with Opti on is, with this monitoring equipment, we're going to get a much better understanding of how the system is really responding to these various rainfall events. And it's really going to help us with more of a targeted maintenance program for these green infrastructure structures, or for the systems. Rather than just replacing soil medium every 2 or 3 years, we're going to be evaluating the performance of the system and then basing those maintenance decisions on the performance rather than just arbitrary timeline dates on a schedule. The next phase of that project is referred to as the Elberon. If you don't mind stepping back. Sorry about that. The next phase is actually a very important phase in the project, and and it involves the management of flows using an existing lake within the park. It's Washington Park Lake, as you can imagine by the title up above. And essentially what that's allowing us to do is connect the green infrastructure systems, which are promoting infiltration. They've been designed to hold back 3 inches of rainfall. So one of the things the city has really experienced is these flash flooding events where they're seeing tremendous rainfall within an hour. In a couple cases within the past years, it was close to 3 inches within an hour. So the Quail Street project has been designed to accept that flow. But if we get higher flows, what's going to happen is the flow gets conveyed down the street to the downstream limits of the project, and then we'll be installing a new dedicated storm sewer, which will help establish floodplain storage in Washington Park Lake. So within the lake, we actually have availability to store 4 to 6 million gallons, and that's using an existing surface feature. So if you can imagine, we're really optimizing an existing feature that really already exists out there. If we were trying to create that same $4 to $6 million or million gallons of storage using gray infrastructure, project costs would have been substantially higher. And Opti is really allowing us to do this in the most effective manner. When we look at the management of the lake, we're really, and this is where it got interesting, we are really drawn to the Opti technology. It's really helping us with pre-event planning, and by that, what I mean is that if we see a significant rainfall event coming in, we have the ability to draw that lake down, within the operating range that we desire. So we've got 4 million gallons of storage from the normal lake level to the top limits that we want to operate the lake in. But if we do need additional storage, because we have seen some hurricane events roll through, we do have the ability to do pre-event drawdowns on the lake too. So that's a way that Opti is helping us really optimize that storage feature, as well as the actual management of flows during the wet weather event, and then also during the management of flows for post-event. For normal operations within the system, what we're looking to achieve is obviously to optimize the available storage. So for most rain events, probably greater than 90% of all rain events, we'll be able to operate the lake as a closed system, meaning we'll be able to store all the runoff within the lake during that event, and then do a slow drawdown after the event. In the case of our system, downstream limits of the lake does actually tie back to the combined sewer system, so it is important for us to manage these flows as they move through the lake. You can step down. So the next project I wanted to talk about real quick, and this is also within the Beaver Creek sewer shed, is Hansen and Reichman. Again, this was creating more storage within the system. In this case, we were looking to employ new GI infrastructure in the form of constructed wetlands, where we're generating approximately 500,000 gallons of storage, and then also a large stormwater storage infiltration gallery where we're going to achieve another 750,000 gallons of storage. Again, we're using the Opti controls to help manage these facilities. In both cases, much like the lake, we want to optimize storage during the events, keep as much of the flows in these facilities, and then discharge after the events. In the case of the infiltration gallery, we've also designed provisions so that we can potentially use the facility as a stormwater harvesting facility. And what the city is evaluating is the feasibility to either use it for irrigation of the ball fields that are within the park, or they're actually talking about storing that water and filling their cleaning funds so that they can reuse the water that way. So to date, this project is currently out to bid. So this project is moving forward. Expects construction to start up in the tail end of August and probably come online towards the end of the year. With the Washington Park Lake, that will also be going out to bid this fall, and we look forward to putting that online probably early next year. And with that, I'll turn it back. Thank you.
Yeah, Bill Simcoe jumping in here. Thank you, Mike, for doing that part of the presentation. The city of Albany is very happy to be doing these projects. We did have an awful time in 2014 with flash flooding in the combined sewer system, and so these two projects are part of the response. And we know we need to do more of these types of projects, and we also see this as part of a push that we have to have a SCADA system and real-time information about our sewer system to be able to respond and to have that proper emergency response to flooding events. So we're really looking forward to implementing this and learning how this real-time control is going to work.